Welcome to another video, boys. Today we're gonna have a full meta report for Demon Hunter, since that is what you guys requested in my last top 5. Right now Demon Hunter is not exactly at the top of the meta, but there are 4 working deck archetypes with which you can easily reach Legend. And one of those archetypes can bring you even to top 100 Legend if you really know what to do with it. In today's meta report I will show you all of the working archetypes for Standard as well as for Wild. And we will also discuss what the future of Demon Hunter might look like after the new rotation. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, you know what to do. Now let's get into the report. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of HS Replay Premium, and I do believe it is second to none when it comes to meta reports. As you can see, for the last 3 days from Diamond to Legend, you have to scroll a little to actually reach the first Demon Hunter deck, which it says it's Aggro Demon Hunter, but I really don't think so. We can find a tier 3 Soul Demon Hunter, Lifesteal Demon Hunter and Fel Demon Hunter, but I really believe those archetypes are at least in tier 2. For you to get a really accurate meta report, you actually have to dig deeper and go to decks. Here we can see the win rates of particular versions of the archetypes, and that will give us a better picture of what the class is actually doing. If we go to Demon Hunter and arrange the decks for win rates, things are gonna start looking a lot more clearer. Again, setting it up for the last 3 days, and from Diamond to Legend. I did include in my last top 5 that Lifesteal Demon Hunter is the best performing Demon Hunter deck right now, and I still believe that is the case. It's really doing wonders at top 1000 Legend, and if you know what you're doing with it, you're gonna have literally no problem climbing with it anywhere. The deck is very high skill capped, and the difference between a well-piloted and really well-piloted Lifesteal Demon Hunter is just huge. It is a very hard deck to master, but once you get it, you can literally climb to top 100 Legend easily. I myself really can't pilot that deck optimally, even though I tried a few times, but that doesn't mean that you won't. We can also see that Aggro Demon Hunter is doing well, Soul Demon Hunter has acceptable 55% win rate, and you can also see the Fel Demon Hunter, which is basically a fragmentless Soul Demon Hunter. Now let's see one of the best versions for each of those decks. For Lifesteal Demon Hunter, I already talked about this version in my last top 5, so we don't really need to be talking about it way too much, and you can just check out my detailed last top 5 about it. Here's what the matchup section looks like right now, and it shows that Bomb Warrior and Enrage Warrior will be problematic, as well as Control Priest and Guardian Druid. Pure Paladin will be pure carnage for you as well, but other than that you can see that most other matchups are very deep in the green. For the mulligan we have enough data here, so here's what it looks like. When you're going first, you will want your Skull Gul'dan, Morgue Artificer wouldn't be bad to keep, Illidari Studies and Spectral Sight as well, and for some reason Telnos also makes enough sense. But I'm not too sure you really gotta overkeep it too much. It can help you with your Frogglaive, and you can do a better Immolation Aura with it for instance, but other than that, I'm not too sure you should keep it that much. When you're on the coin, the situation is somewhat the same. Again, Skull Gul'dan would be at the top, Frogglaive would be a nice early game tool for you, Raging Fell Screamer is not too bad as a drop as well, and again, Illidari Studies and even Immolation Aura makes the cut here. Moving down to the next deck in line, which I do believe is Aggro Demon Hunter. Ever since Demon Hunter came, Aggro Demon Hunter has always found its way in the meta, and right now it's still somewhere in there. It's not doing amazingly amazing, but it's still doing pretty good. This is a very expensive version of an Aggro Demon Hunter, which runs Polkilt and Il'gynoth. Ultras is 3, so it's not that expensive with them, but yeah, for an Aggro Demon Hunter, more than 2 legendaries sounds a lot. We don't run Kayn in this version, because your main win condition will be Ultras, when your Smork plan doesn't pan out. We don't have that much stats for the matchup section, but as you can see, Token Druid, Ram Paladin and Stealth Rogue are all gonna be favorable for you, which is a huge part of the meta, so you got that going for you. For the mulligan, when you're going first, you want your good 1-drops and 2-drops. As you can see, if it's not below 2 mana, you just don't keep it. When you're on the coin, the situation is pretty much the same. You obviously will never keep your Ultras, and same goes for Il'gynoth. I do believe you can afford to keep Polkilt when you're going second, but it's kinda tricky, and you will probably want to have a better early game instead of keeping a 5-drop like that. Next up is my favorite Demon Hunter, obviously Soul Demon Hunter, and this is the best version of it right now. It looks pretty close to the versions I've talked about in my last few guides, but as you can see, this version opts for 2 wand makers instead of the lucky guy. You can also see we don't have Kayn here, but I don't think that's such a great idea. You can just check out my Soul Demon Hunter guides from a few weeks ago, so you can get a better idea of how to pilot this. There's really not enough data here for me to show you matchups, and the mulligan section is kinda wonky as well. But all in all, Paladins will not be your friend, and Token Druid is not great as well. With rogues you're gonna have troubles, and that is why Soul Demon Hunter is not doing that amazingly right now. For the mulligan, when going first, you want your Spirit Jailer, Wand Maker, Pantra, and sometimes Soul Shear if you feel you're gonna need some removal early on. Against Smorky classes, you will always want to keep your Eldrachi Warblade as well, even though these stats are just all over the place. When you're going second, again you want your Spirit Jailer, Pantra, Soul Shear, Wand Maker, against faster classes Eldrachi, against slower classes Marrow Slicer, and you can even keep Skull Gul'dan in some cases. You should never keep cards like Bladed Lady, Blade Dance, Il'gynoth, Relentless Pursuit most of the time, Lapidary would never be a keep for you. But when you're going second, you can afford to keep a Mystic in some cases if you know you're gonna need that free damage. Next up is the Fel Demon Hunter, which like I said, is a fragmentless Soul Demon Hunter. But not really, cause this version is more board-centric. The most notable inclusions here would be the Felsteel Executioner and also the Fel Saber. You still have the game plan with your Il'gynoth, cause you are running a ton of hand damage, and that is why you have the Bladed Lady as well. But you will not be able to do the crazy amounts of damage you were used to with the Lapidary, so there's that. Not enough data for matchups, but Paladins will not be your friend again, and I think same goes for Token Druid and Rogues as well. At least here we have enough stats for the Mulligan guide, which is not that hard to figure out anyway. You want your good 1-drops, 2-drops, Illidari Study is always gonna make the cut, and Sightless Watcher will help you curve out better. When going second, it's pretty much the same, but you can even afford to keep the Fel Saber because it's a very nice thing to coin out on turn 3. I'm not sure why Il'gynoth is so high in the second stats, but in some cases you can even tempo him out, but I would definitely not just keep him. Pantra should definitely be a lot higher in this stats, and Eldrachi as well if you're against faster archetypes. Now let's see what are the cheapest Soul Demon Hunters in Standard. Here is the cheapest Soul Demon Hunter I could find, which doesn't run Il'gynoth, which of course is gonna hurt your win rate because that is gonna be your win condition in plenty of matchups. But all in all, the list seems pretty solid. You're basically replacing your good cards with Consume Magic, which never hurts, especially in today's meta. That will also help you a lot more against Paladins, so you'll have that going for you, which is nice. And the other cheapest working Demon Hunter I could find is obviously Aggro Demon Hunter. This is another legendless version, where the deck consists mostly of 1-drops and 2-drops. You also have the Still Stepper and the Dreadlord's Bite, and 2 Skulls of Gul'dan. If you do have some of the good legendary cards here, you're probably gonna want to cut Pantra and Umberwing, but all in all, this list should also help you climb a lot of ranks. Now let's see what's happening in the wild section. Here, Odd Demon Hunter is king, and that has been the case for a very long time, aside from when Soul Demon Hunter was also doing pretty good, but right now it seems like this is the optimal version you can choose. This is another very fast Aggro Demon Hunter, which consists of mainly of 1-drops, with the exclusion of Dreadlord's Bite, Still Stepper, Leroy, and Baku. You have Illidari Studies in here, which is gonna be amazing for you if you get to hit a Skull of Gul'dan from there. But overall, it's a pretty fast deck, and it gets the job done pretty quickly. You can check out my last Wild Meta Report, where I do talk about it as well. And this is actually the deck I reached Legend with in the last season, but that was before Illidari Studies. And there's not really enough data for the mulligans as well, but obviously you keep your 1-drops. I think Illidari Studies should be way higher in this keep section, because you tend to run out of cards to play pretty fast. Anyway, now let's talk about the future of Demon Hunter, and try to figure out what the new announcement means for it. As you can see from the core breakdown set, we will have 41 cards that are returning for the basic set, which with some simple math means that 4 or 5 cards will remain for the basic set for Demon Hunter. Here's what the basic set looks like right now for Demon Hunter, and you can see that the best performing cards from the basic set would be Chaos Strike and Eldrachi, and I do believe that those 2 cards will remain in Standard. It's anyone's guess really what will remain, but I really think that Chaos Strike and Eldrachi are a part of the class identity for Demon Hunter. Adept also makes a lot of sense, Satire Overseer as well, Sightless Watcher is pretty cool, and Chaos Nova makes a lot of sense as well. But honestly, it's anyone's guess what's gonna happen. Now let's move down to the Demon Hunter Initiate set, which is also something pretty important for the Demon Hunter class. It does say that we're gonna have 4 cards returning from the Initiate set, and I do believe it's gonna be 1 common, 1 rare, 1 epic, and 1 legendary. So let's try to figure out what are the biggest probabilities here. Twin Slice obviously is a part of the class identity for Demon Hunter, but it's a very problematic card, and it's hard to balance it, and we all saw that. Battle Fiend and Consume Magic also make a lot of sense. Umberwing is pretty cool, Mana Burn is a pretty versatile card, but anything at the bottom is not really worth talking about for common cards. Twin Slice would definitely be the best outcome for the Demon Hunter class, but I'm not too sure if Blizzard will let it stay in the core set. Honestly, my bet would be on Costume Magic, but again, nobody knows. For the rare cards, we have Blade Dance, Raging Fel Screamer, and Illidari Fellblade as the most used cards for rare right now. The other 3 rare cards are just not worth mentioning. I think the fight would be between Raging Fel Screamer here and Blade Dance, but my money would be on Blade Dance. But if you really have to think about it, if Twin Slice doesn't make the cut, neither will Blade Dance, cause it's just not gonna have enough support in that case, I think. For the epic cards, I think I-Beam makes the most sense, but Rathscale Naga also makes a lot of sense for that token Demon Hunter deck. Wrathspite Brute is a cool card, but so far it hasn't really made sense in Demon Hunters most of the time. And we don't even need to mention Flame Reaper. And for the legendary cards, the fight is between Altris and what's his name. As long as Blizzard doesn't decide to take Demon Hunter in a very control-y state, I don't think it's gonna be very worth for this card to be in the core set. So maybe Altris will remain in standard after the rotation. And the last interesting part from the announcement for Demon Hunter is that actually 4 cards will be returning from Ashes of Outland. This is a very weird wording, since we all know Ashes of Outland is remaining in standard, but what we think it means is that new people that join the game will get 4 of the Ashes of Outland's cards for free. So that's gonna be pretty cool for new Demon Hunter players. If we have to figure out what those Demon Hunter cards will be, my money would be on the Crimson Sigil Runner for a common, Skull of Gul'dan for a rare, maybe Warglaives of Azanoth for an epic, and probably Kayn for a legendary, even though Metamorphosis is also a pretty cool card, but nowadays people just don't run that anymore. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, guys. All of the codes for the decks we talked about will be in the description. Let me know what cards you think will remain in the core set after the rotation, so we can discuss it. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.